Have you been trying to find or flip profitable cars but just can't seem to find one that yields a good profit when it comes time to sell the car? Well, don't worry. In this video, I'm going to go through the A to Z process of negotiating with the seller and the process of actually buying a used car so that you can be confident that you're getting it for the right price so that it has genuine profit potential. For more on every step of the car flipping process, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next weekly video. My name's Benjamin McShannock and welcome back to Ben Flips Cars. And using the methods I'm about to show you, I was able to buy this fantastic condition Holden Cruise here with a roadworthy certificate for just $3,200, which already has the profit potential to sell for a lot more. If you haven't seen my previous videos on inspecting a used car, where I go in depth on the engine, exterior, interior, test drive, and general due diligence you should do before deciding whether or not the vehicle you're looking at actually has profit potential and whether it's worth buying at all, then I'll pop that playlist up in the corner now for you to go and check out first before watching this video. This video will make a lot more sense following those ones. Now that we've done our in-depth due diligence and vehicle inspection, it's time to finally make the decision of whether the car's in a state that we're able to get it back into that like new condition that I've already mentioned so many times. And if we think it is, then we're going to negotiate with the seller to pay no more than our max purchase price that we decided in part 2 of finding a car with profit potential. And for this car, that price was $3,500, our max purchase price. So ultimately, the decision of whether or not we want to buy the car is based on two questions. One, based on our max buy price, which in this case was $3,500 for this car, our minimum sell price, which was $6,000 for this car, our estimated profit, which by the way, all of this we determined in part 2 of finding a car with profit potential, which I'll pop up in the corner, and also based on the list of issues that we came up with while inspecting this car, is it possible to make the profit goal that we set out to make with this car? And for this car, that was $2,000 to $2,500. If the answer to this question is no, based on all those things I just mentioned, then just walk away. You're already dead in the water before you even start and do anything to the car if you buy a car without profit potential in the first place. And trust me, I've made that mistake. No matter what improvements you make to the car, you just won't be able to sell it for a high enough price to make that profit goal. The second question is, can you make this car look as good as new within your skill set? If the answer is no, then again, walk away. This means the car has too much wrong with it, needs too much work, and you don't want to deal with that. There's always going to be another car that's going to be a better option for you. Some good general tips when buying a used car are, firstly, always remember the max purchase price that you determined that you're willing to pay for the car. Again, for this car, that was $3,500. When negotiating, you want to begin your offer at least $500 to $1,000 below that maximum purchase price you're willing to pay to allow for negotiation room. So for example, on this car, I was willing to pay $3,500, but I started with $3,000. Next, do not get emotional. This is key. As soon as you start feeling like you need the car, that's the moment you're going to start making bad decisions. Remember, more often than not, or even the majority of the time, you're going to be walking away from whatever car you're inspecting. Do not compromise on the rules I'm teaching you. You just don't want to end up stuck with an unprofitable car. Another tip, take cash to the deal. Cash is such a great negotiation tool. When the seller sees you have cash in hand, this can get them excited, give them that dopamine rush, and make them a lot more likely to spontaneously say yes. However, if you're going to inspect a rather expensive car, cash can be impractical and even dangerous to bring along. So only do this within reason. Usually if it's a car below $5,000, bringing cash, no problem. Another good tip, when negotiating with a seller, you don't have to be too serious. You can even crack a few jokes, be friendly, and have a few laughs throughout the negotiation process. Eliciting positive emotions with the seller during that negotiation process can have them like you and trust you more and become a lot more willing to negotiate with you. Finally, just let me remind you again, if you're not happy with anything about the situation you're in, then you can just walk away at any time. And there's a saying in sales that the ultimate negotiation leverage is being willing to walk away from the table. And you really have no negotiation leverage if you're not willing to walk away, especially if the seller can sense that. Never feel pressured to buy the car or like you need the car, especially if you can't get it for the price or the condition that you're willing to buy it for. There will always be another deal out there for you somewhere. And sometimes when the seller sees that you're serious about walking away, they'll even come down further on the price as well, which could change the situation for you from negative to positive. Now, using your list of issues that you found during your inspection of the used car, assuming that there's not so many issues that you're going to walk away from the deal, you want to use this list of issues as as negotiation leverage, especially if you found any issues that wasn't mentioned by the seller in the listing. And this will give the seller some valid reasoning for the low offer that you're going to make. Getting on their level and helping them understand the reasoning behind your lowball offer is going to make them a lot more likely to say yes, or at least be more willing to negotiate and lower the price down even more. In the case of this car, I found that the heating wasn't working very well, and also looking at the coolant reservoir, the coolant was low. And these two things suggested to me that the car had a coolant leak somewhere, which I was able to use as great negotiation leverage with the seller and get it even for a few $100 below our maximum purchase price. I think they'd already said they could do $3,800, but I basically said to them, coolant issues can be expensive and a big deal to fix, especially if it's something like the water pump. Would you be willing to come any closer to $3,000? And surprisingly, they came all the way down to $3,300. Remember, our max purchase price was $3,500, so we're already below that. Then I managed to get them down to $3,200 in the end, well below our max purchase price, which meant I was happy to take that risk with this car, even though it clearly had a coolant leak. Do you have any good tips for negotiating with the seller of a used car to get the lowest possible purchase price? Let me know in the comments below. I'm only a YouTube mechanic that likes to solve problems, so I'm always keen to hear from others on how I can improve these things. If you've missed any of the previous videos to this series where I go in depth on finding a car with profit potential and inspecting that car in depth in person, I'll pop that playlist up in the corner now so you can go and check that out. These videos will make a lot more sense following those ones. I'm also going to pop it at the end screen so you can go check it out after you finish watching this video. Now let me run you through a rough script and strategy that you can use to negotiate with the seller and to hopefully get the car within your max purchase price. So let's say the seller's name is Bob. Start by saying something to them like, okay Bob, after having a good look at the car, obviously there's a few things that I'm going to have to address and put a little bit of extra money into if I buy the car off you today. But that being said, for the right price, I'm absolutely willing to buy it off you today. So what do you think is a reasonable and solid number for me to take the car off your hands? Now at this point you want to zip it. It gives them a chance to do some of the negotiation work for you. And another saying in sales, the first person to name the price loses. Whatever their first offer is, it's more than likely going to be above whatever their bottom line is. And at this point you want to show them your list of issues that you made while inspecting the car, and then say something like, okay, well unfortunately considering the issues I have listed here, I won't be able to do whatever price they said. Now let me be upfront and not waste any more of our time with the issues this vehicle has. My straight offer to you is, and then you say $500 to $1,000 below your max purchase price, which in this case was $3,500. So I'd say my straight offer to you is $3,000, and I have the cash in hand for you here right now. Now the seller will more than likely show more resistance naturally, and there's no problem with going back and forth until you both find a price that you're happy on, as long as it's below that predetermined max purchase price. However, if you can't get to a price that you're both happy with, it's time to make your ultimatum. So you want to say something like, all right, Bob, I appreciate your flexibility and your willingness to negotiate. Unfortunately though, this will be my final offer and maximum price I'm willing to pay for the vehicle, considering the state of the vehicle. And then you're just going to state your predetermined number. So in this case, I would just say $3,500. Once again, I have it here for you in cash. What do you say? And if you want to be really cheeky and a little bit pushy, you can stick your hand out to shake as you say to them. What do you say? Naturally, there could be some more resistance. If there is, say something like, look, I see where you're coming from and I know it's not what you want to hear, but $3,500 is the best I can do. I'm not trying to rip you off, but I'm also really trying to avoid buying a car that I might have to put more money into than what it's worth. My offer stands at $3,500. I have the cash ready for you right here. All you got to do is say yes. With this rough negotiation script, you should hopefully be able to get the vehicle for at or below your predetermined max purchase price. And again, if you can't, if the seller's just not willing to go that low, it's time to walk away. Again, there's going to be other deals out there. Go find another one. Now, on the other hand, if you do agree on a price, you really want to take your time in filling out the paperwork and making sure the car is correctly transferred into your name. It's going to save you a lot of time and headaches getting it right on the first go. Obviously, the process to do this is different in every state and every country, so you want to do your due diligence on how to do this properly, probably before you go to inspect the car. Here in Victoria, thankfully, it's quite an easy and straightforward process. The transfer can be done online or in the My Vicroads app. You're going to need the seller's driver's license number to do this, or if they don't have a driver's license for whatever reason, they're going to at least need a My Vicroads account number. And if they don't have either of them, then unfortunately you're going to have to go to a Vicroads service centre to get it transferred. To complete the transfer online, you have to go into the seller's My Vicroads account or app and have them submit what's called a notice of disposal in their My Vicroads account. As they do this, it'll click them through a few prompts that they have to do, and they're going to be disposing it into your name. So you got to have your driver's license number as well, so they can transfer it online into your name. And then the vehicle will be transferred into your name within 2 business days, they say, at which point you, as the buyer, you have to pay the stamp duty fee and the transfer fee to complete the transfer. That's usually a couple of extra $100, which you pay to Vicroads and the government. And that's all done on the My Vicroads website as well. There's also one physical form, which I'll try and find the link of and leave below, which is the application for transfer of vehicle registration form. You can find it on the My Vicroads website, and this form can also be used as a receipt of vehicle sale, because when you fill it out, it has all the details of both yourself as the buyer and the seller as well. As the buyer, you want to keep this form, but make sure the seller also has a copy, so get them to take some photos of it before you leave with the completed form. And as I mentioned earlier, the seller will also have to provide a roadworthy certificate less than 30 days old to complete the transfer. In most cases, they should already have this and then be able to put it in when completing the notice of disposal. Awesome. Now with us having bought the car and transferred the car properly into our name, it's time to drive the car home or to wherever you're going to work on it and get to work on adding value to the car and getting it into that like new condition. All of which I'm going to be covering in depth in the next videos, so be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss them. And of course, I'll also have them pop up in the corner once the first of those videos is released. Once again, if you missed any of the previous videos on finding a car with profit potential or inspecting a used car, they should be up on screen now. If you have any questions at all, drop a comment below and I'll get back to you, or to message me directly. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok, also at Ben Flips Cars. Like to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe so you don't miss the next weekly car flipping video. My name is Benjamin McShannock, and thank you very much for watching Ben Flips Cars.